The book is all the work that I've done to be able to keep creating the music that I do and move the way I move. It's a movement behind it. You got to put a lot of energy behind pushing your own material.
You are now listening to the BV Mobile Apps Podcast. The show is designed to help you grow your mobile app audience and get advice from experts in your industry. Now, here's your host, Sean Garvey.
That's right, folks. It's the BV Mobile Apps Podcast with your host, Sean Garvey, courtesy of BV Mobile Apps, where we are the official mobile app provider for the Fleet DJs, Nerve DJs, and Core DJs. Stay tuned for more information on how you can get your app customized through BV Mobile Apps. In the meantime, I have a gentleman on the live line with me. His latest book, entitled Wisdom and Philosophy on Intuitive Energy Work, is out right now. He is also a music artist that will be performing at the upcoming Camp and Trip Festival in a few days, which we are all looking forward to seeing him perform. And today's focus of this interview is a music artist guide to publishing your own book. So for all of my artists, talented people, and writers out there, if you are looking to find that particular resource to publish your own book, or if you already have an idea of how you want your book to be published, you definitely want to listen into this important podcast. And I have this gentleman on the line to talk more about it. He goes by the name of baba.sol. Hey, baba.sol, good day. How you doing?
Peace. What's up? How you doing? I'm good.
Peace and blessings, man. I am doing good. I am happy to have you on the live line to talk about not only your book and your music career, but I see here that you have an upcoming performance at the Camp and Trip Festival in a few days, and I definitely would love to talk about that. But I also want to have you have the opportunity to educate our listeners about publishing their own book. So in advance, thank you so much for joining with us today.
I appreciate the opportunity. You know what I mean? Anything that I can share with others to help inspire growth, I'm all about it.
That's what I love to hear. So, baba.sol, we are in the era right now. I want to start off by talking about your music career first and then transition from there. We are in the era right now of so many artists, innovative artists, that are going beyond their own lane to do other genres, whether it's doing both rap, hip-hop, R&B, and pop music. baba.sol, are you one of those artists that go against the grain and do multiple genres? Like, tell our listeners and educate me on who baba.sol is, and are you the artist that is in more than just one lane?
Well, I like to look at myself as an artist that likes to think outside of the box. So a lot of my music, it stays in the lane of hip hop, but I go anywhere from like rock to like blues or country and pop music and stuff like that. So I been doing music for a while, and I've listened to all genres of music, but I was raised old school by my grandparents or whatnot. So I've always been into making classic music that's gonna live throughout time and not just for the moment. A lot of artists right now, I feel like they're just making music for the moment, and it won't be, good 2, 3, 4, 5 years down the road. So I work on mastering that within myself.
Yeah. You got an album or a project that's out right now called Aquarian King. Is it an actual album or an EP or a mixtape? Talk to our listeners about it.
So Aquarian King is an actual album. It's produced and engineered by my good homie Pac-Man ADV. He's a part of Bando Beats, that production team. We work really closely on that project. That project actually happened really fast. I believe that we completed that project within 4 weeks, and it was just like 2 songs every time I came in the studio. A majority of those songs actually didn't write. I kind of just made those songs on the spot. So I'm really proud of that project, man.
Yeah, Aquarian King. I'm looking at the site right now. I'm an Aquarius as well. So Aquarian King, you are
Okay.
an Aquarius too?
Yes, sir. You already know.
Oh, okay, good, good. Well, it's so great to talk to a fellow Aquarian, and I know you have a lot of different subject matters and topics that you discuss and you rap about in your project. Is it a gumbo of just different stories that you share with your listeners? What is the secret behind Aquarian King, and what can people expect from the album?
Aquarian King is a backstory about me, about where I was at that time in my life, coming into an age of Aquarius. And knowing that I've been in Aquarius my whole life, I've always been ahead of the tide or ahead of everybody. So it's kind of like the music on that project was kind of foretelling the future, but also talking about my past as well. I got songs on there talking about how when I was in high school, when I first got out, I was one of the first people that you would consider being woke. And a lot of people didn't understand what I was talking to them about. And then I got songs about, being in the hood and trying to stay out of the way of all the foolishness, you know what I mean? Then I got songs about making money and floating through the city, Then I got songs about just being in a creative space all the time. Then I got songs for everybody on there basically. But Aquarian King is there to inspire people to get on their royals ish, basically. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah, I love it. It's a balance of different things of what you went through, what you're going through, what the world looks like in your eyes, and you just happen to share that with your followers and with your listeners. And it's important to have a balance in one project, in one album. I love it. I'm here for it. baba.sol, you have a very unique name. Where did that name come from? baba.sol.
So, well, I first give you a little backdrop about me. When I first went solo, my name was Just a Soul, and that was spelled Justa and then SOL. And that reason for that name was I felt like I wanted people to not look at me as a name, but just see my soul, everything I have to offer. But then I became endowed into different spiritual systems and doing ceremonies and different things like that. And then I became a father as well. My daughter, she's 6 years old now. So I've been baba.sol for about 6 years now. And I decided to name myself baba.sol because I wanted the world to know that I'm a father, I'm a teacher, and I'm also kind of like a preacher in a sense, a priest or somewhat. And when I walked into that, a lot of people looked at me like, man, what are you doing, bro? You're too young to be a baba. Because in my neck of the woods, in the community, all the babas, they elders, and they've been doing their thing, and nobody ever questioned how they became baba this and baba that. So I pretty much was like, man, I'm starting a trend for myself. I'm calling myself baba.sol. And next thing you know, I got flack about it, but now that's who I am. That's what I'm doing, and it works.
Yeah, yeah. It just stuck. It just stuck from there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, baba.sol on the BV Mobile Apps podcast with your host Sean Garvey. Transitioning from music to book, you are not only an artist, but you are a writer as well. Wisdom and philosophy on intuitive energy work. How did that all come about? Where did you get the name of the book, and walk with us or walk through us what the book is about?
So I've been a energy healer or Reiki healer for over 10 years now in Atlanta, and I was doing a lot of energy work on a lot of individuals, but then I got to a point where I started feeling like it didn't make sense for me to just keep on healing people's chakras and helping them get through their subconscious mind if they're not willing to do the work themselves. So I decided that instead of being a Reiki healer, I'm gonna create more energy healers. So I started teaching classes on this about 7 years ago, and then I had a couple of students, neophytes, I would like to call them, and after that, I just started writing down all my knowledge and wisdom that I had attained over the years. So this book is actually about 10, 12 years worth of knowledge that I cultivated. And I had started writing it about 3 years ago. It's a small book, but all the information in there is like very potent. So what we talk about in this book is wisdom and philosophy on intuitive energy work. We're talking about how to get in tune with ourselves as far as knowing our own energy, because in this world we take on a lot of other people's energies and we don't know who we are. Most of the time we feel unappreciated, or we feel like we don't have a purpose and things like that. So
Yeah.
I realized with those people that they need to work on themselves. So the book goes into meditation. It goes into how the body actually works and what makes the body do what it does and what keeps the body alive. Essentially, we talk about the aura. We talk about reprogramming our subconscious mind. We talk about healing others. We talk about a lot of different things in this book that's going to help us. But one of the main things in this book is basically you learning your body and how the energy works within it. A lot of people don't know how to meditate. A lot of people don't even know how to breathe properly. So we have exercises in the book that teach people how to do pranayama, which is basically getting more life force inside of your body. Because the only thing that's keeping us alive, you can go without food and water. And I put this in the book as well, that you can go without food and water, but you can't go without your breath for only oh so long. So the breath is actually what keeps us alive. So a lot of us don't even know how to breathe, Sean. So I just kind of tap into the basics. And wisdom and philosophy is actually a series of books that I'm actually releasing over time. So this is just the first installment. And that's why it's a short read, because there's going to be multiple books from this.
That is very deep and one hell of a blanket in the times that we live in right now, coming out of COVID or still in the COVID pandemic, where things are slowing down and things are picking back up at the same time. A piece of literature like the one that you illustrated is something that people can take to heart or take heed as they are challenging with mental health and with mental issues and all sorts of challenges and adversities and obstacles that each individual, no matter what race you are, no matter what sex you are or gender, we all go through some type of obstacle or adversity. And a book like the one you illustrated can help that person in his or her journey. And this is definitely something I would love to talk about at a later day and time, wisdom and philosophy on intuitive energy work. But like I said earlier, we also want to talk about the guide to publishing your own book. There is a writing process, a publishing process, and a process on selling a product successfully like the one that you currently have. So let's break all that down, baba.sol. Let's break the process of successfully publishing a book. To some people, it's not as easy as it looks, or it's not as hard as it looks to certain people, but there is a process. Let's talk about the writing process first and foremost. What does the writing process look like in the development stages of publishing a book?
So the writing, man, it looks like a bunch of outlines, it's definitely pages on pages on pages. And to be honest with you, you better have a hard drive that you can save these things on, and even write it on paper as well, so you can have two different forms of the information. But the writing comes down to you actually just taking the time. I tell people that when you write a book, don't get into just knocking the book all out in one sitting or something like that. I was taught when you write books that you can just write for 5 minutes a day and, leave it alone. Come back to it and just keep on building it. Like I said, this book I actually been writing for 3 years, along with other books that I'm writing. And it's just it came to a point where I felt like the book was finished when I read it to myself and I realized, all right, now I need to put all these different things in order, because even in the order that it's written in, you may not push it out, publish it in that order. So I had a lot of time to actually go back and forth and see how I wanted to do. But it always comes down to just making an outline. You can make you an outline with different subjects that you want to speak about first, and then you expound on those different things. And then you figure out what kind of order you want to put it in as well. I don't know if that answers the question correctly.
It answered part of the question, but I have a few more questions to ask you about the writing process. There are people that do want to know about the format. And I know that the format of how you document things in a piece of literature is very important, because you want the reader to understand what you are conveying and how you format it in. So let's also talk about the format. What does the format have to look like? Does it have to be structured, or do you have to have it in a way where it can still get the message out there for people to understand? Or, what do you think? Does it have to be structured or non-structured?
I definitely think there needs to be some structure. Of course, when you're creating a text, it's going to be like a big cloud of information, and it's about putting it in a format where it's not overwhelming others at immediately. Basically, I don't like overwhelming people. And this is the reason why I chose to write a small book and not a large book, because I understand that when it comes to the format of things, people receive things a certain kind of way. So it definitely needs to be some structure depending on the type of book you're writing. Now, if it's, let's say you're writing a poetry book or something like that, it really doesn't need to be any structure for that. It's just poems or something like that. But if you're writing something to inspire others or to like a self-help type of book, then you definitely need steps. You definitely need that right structure for that person to receive the information the right way, because they could get turned off the book from how you write, your vernacular, or even the mindset that you're in when you're writing the book. You gotta, I tell people, think about how you read books and how would you want to be spoken to when you read that book. Because I hear the person's voice when I read a book. I'm not sure if everybody hears a voice when they read a book, but I hear a voice. And so when I write the book, I want people to hear me when I speak. So I don't use a lot of big words in the book. It's very relatable, and it's all about making it easily digestible.
Gotcha. Make it, just keeping it simple, basically. I always use that ideology, keeping things simple and not too abstract. Because there is a purpose and an objective in what you are doing with the book. Now, of course, back to the writing process, there is this resource that I have been on for quite some time called Writer's Duet. I know there's a few other resources that are out there that are somewhat similar to Writer's Duet, but do you recommend a service or a resource like Writer's Duet for writers like yourself to go on there and to start their own book and then go from that point? Because I use Writer's Duet, and what I notice is that it's not the type of service where you can just go online and write a script, but it also offers features for writers to write a book. So do you recommend those resources, or if not, what other resources can a amateur writer or a writer who's in the beginning stages go to for further assistance?
Well, I believe that you can. It just depends on how much work you want to put into it. I feel. Um, I know people that release books with no kind of assistance from any kind of third parties or companies and things like that. They just print the book out and sell it, no barcode or anything, you know. And then you got people like myself. I used Create Space, which is now Kindle Direct Publishing, and they they do charge a certain percentage. There are other companies out there that you could use as well. It's all about what you're willing to sacrifice as far as your percentage of how much you make on your book, and what stores do they put it in. I chose the Kindle Direct Publishing because it goes directly to Amazon, and Amazon is like one of the biggest websites in the world right now. So a lot of people, they go and look for books on Amazon and whatnot. Now there are other sites that I could release the book on as well, being a self-published author, but I chose to use that dynamic because I can also purchase my books for a low price and sell them outside of Amazon. So I'm online with it and I make a certain percentage, but I can pay for my physical copies and make a lot more with my book, and also creating more relationships with people when I'm actually in the midst of them and talking and sharing this information and sharing my book with people instead of just being online with it.
Yeah.
I haven't used Writers Duet. I never heard of it before, actually, but I'm interested in just doing some research on it and seeing what it's actually capable of doing.
Yeah. And you know what? You answered part of what I was just getting ready to ask you, along with the other question on how to be successful selling it. And you mentioned just a few moments ago about building relationships, going out there and networking, which we'll get into in just a few moments within the little time frame that we have here. But what does it actually take to publish a book and to get it out there to the people and to get it out there to the masses? What does it actually take?
It takes patience. It takes creativity, and you got to have a lot of willpower because nobody gonna know anything about anything till you tell them. So I tell people, where I'm at with it is just that I have to get there myself. I'm selling myself, basically. I wrote the book, I made the cover, I illustrated the cover and all of that. So everything is all on me. And I could just write this book and be like, yeah, I wrote a book, and that's it. But nobody's going to care about that book unless I make them care about it. So being who I am, I walk around with my books everywhere. I got business cards, and I go to different stores. I talk to different people that I feel like may need the book. I might even just give it to them because in all actuality, it costs me, less than $5 to print my book out. But I could sacrifice that if I feel like this will help that person, and then they in turn into somebody great or whatnot. So I walk around, man. I talk to people. I've always been in sales, and I know that sales. My mentor told me this. He said, "Go hard." G stands for greet everybody. O stands for offer them something. H stands for hand them something. A stands for ask power questions. R stands for requests. They got requests, you record those requests. And D stands for deliver quickly. And I always keep that in my mind. So I just pop up on people, hey, y'all into this, and that. I've been in places where I've sold tea on the streets. Not nobody selling no tea on the streets until I started doing it. I'm making $500 a day selling tea. But nobody care about tea until you make them care about it. You got to educate them. So it's all kind of it's a movement behind it. You got to put a lot of energy behind pushing your own material. When I go to my shows, I got my book on stage with me. You know what I mean? My book is like a walking billboard now. So that's just how it is, man. You got to put everything into it yourself. You got to push yourself.
Yeah. Now, we only have a few minutes left right here on the BV Mobile Apps podcast as we are focusing on a music artist guide to publishing your own book. You come from the background of music. So how challenging is it to transition from being an artist, which you still are, to being a writer / author and publishing your own book? How challenging is it for you?
It's not challenging at all, man. It's all in the same realm. I'm always writing, writing a book is not rhyming, so I don't have to put too much effort into it. I'm just jotting down my thoughts and things like that. And it kind of goes hand in hand because as an artist, you need merch and things like that to sell to your supporters or fans or whatever you want to call them.
Yeah.
And now I got a book. And I always thought about people, artists with merch. It's like, yeah, you giving me this, but I cannot use this, in life. Like, I'm just going to probably throw this away or something like that. So I think that when people get a book from me, they can connect with me more as an artist to understand my mind now and understand where I'm coming from with the art. Because the book is all the work that I've done to be able to keep creating the music that I do and move the way I move and be who I am. Because I'm not only just doing music, I'm doing this, I'm growing. I got a whole agricultural program that I run in my community and all kind of different things. So I just kind of took my life and made it to where everything adds value and it don't take away and I don't have to use more energy to do one more thing. Because I used to be somebody that did too much and wasn't accomplishing anything.
Yeah. You got to expand your horizons as an artist and not just only make music, which is great, but also have that merchandise on hand for people to gravitate you even more, with the T-shirts and with the books and apparel and everything else. You gotta you gotta think outside the box, basically. Yeah. Okay, great. Now I want to definitely talk about the Camping Trip Festival, which is coming up in a few days, and you have a very big part in the event. But as we get ready to transition out of this part of the interview into the Camping Trip Festival, you got to tell us, how does it take to be successful at selling a book, especially in these days? It's not too many bookstores that are out there. Everything is online, right? And so as an author, as a writer, what advice can you give to people that are starting out, that are coming from being a musician and now transitioning over into writing their own book? How can they be successful at selling it? Of course, there's social media, there's the website. What is your advice?
My advice is to edify yourself and edify your book at all times. If you are an artist and you transitioning into being an author, I don't think that those two can't go together. They go together very well. And all you got to do is keep that thing on you like it's a pistol. You know what I mean? Because that's your shield, that's your weapon, that's your money. And that thing is going to do numbers for you everywhere you go. Keep it on you. Make you business cards and go ahead and promote yourself. It ain't no bookstores out here, but there are people that will believe in you, and you just got to keep pushing. I keep the book on me. That's my advice to everybody. Keep the book on you, because you never know. It might be some people. I was just in Tennessee dropping my daughter off, and there's a plant-based restaurant, and the owner bought the book off of me. If I never had the book on me, she would have never got it, because she might not buy it online. She had to do it like that. So that's where I say keep it on you. Tell everybody that you're an author. Put it on your social media, and put it out there to the world. And somebody like yourself, you guys, BB Mobile Apps, y'all reached out because I made the book and I'm doing great things. You know what I mean? So the Most High gonna look out for you if you got good intentions. I feel, and you got to be for real with your book. You can't just be out here lying to people and not really about their life. My book is actually me. It's my life. So I feel good about pushing it on people. It's just like my music. I feel good about pushing my music on people because everything I write is me. There's nothing fake about my music.
Yeah, yeah. And you know what? Let me add one other thing to that context as well. You have to make sure this is for all of the artists that are listening right now. You got to make sure that your grammar is on point and your punctuality is on point when it comes to writing in a book. People notice certain type of errors and things when they read a particular piece of literature, novel, book, magazine, you name it, and they will pick up on that, and it could hurt your brand and get some type of not so good feedback and criticism. So that's one thing I want to add to the context is that you got to make sure that the grammar is on point. There is Grammarly.com, and then there are professional proofreaders for hire that can also look and help edit certain things in the book and make sure that there are less grammar errors and those type of things inside of a book that can be edited out to make sure that you giving your audience and your fan base the right kind of quality material. So I just
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Because I didn't even say it, but I have a circle or a think tank, that I screened the book through 3 different people before it actually got to the world. For grammar and punctuation and spell checking and stuff like that. So I didn't use a program or whatnot because I didn't trust, I don't trust a lot of people with my information that I don't know, basically.
Right.
So I use people that I respected their minds, and I know that they have a certain level of intellect to where they understood what I was coming through with the message, and they just helped me hone it in. A lot of people don't know, but I got mentors that help me, get through what I got to get through. So I appreciate you adding that. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. That's what we're here for. We are here to educate and inform people on how they can be successful with their brand. And speaking of which, your brand has led you to the Camp and Trip Festival, which is going down April 16th through the 19th. We got to talk about that before we let you go, Baba. So Camp and Trip Festival, what does it consist of for those that are unfamiliar with the event or have not attended to a venue or an event like the Camp and Trip Festival? What is it all about?
Camp and Trip, man, is brought to you by my bro, Fly. Uh, his brand is Friends Like You. And it's basically an immersion in the forest. It's kind of like being off grid and being on the playground. But as an adult, you're outside all day, got the tents, they got different activities, DJs spinning all throughout the day and night. There's nature hikes, there's rivers, people go and jump in. You know what I mean? It's so much going on at all times. You got crazy vendors out there. You got people doing energy work on each other. You got different kind of I'm supposed to be doing the sweat lodge there this year. I'm not sure if it's going to happen or not, but we'll see. And it's just camping trip is there for people that want to get out of the city and just immerse themselves around like-minded individuals and to get away and break free of all restraints and time. Because when you out there, you're inside the forest, you don't have any signal like that on your phone. There's no time to be worried about anything. You're just in the moment. So it gives people a break. You know what I mean? A lot of people have never really camped out before, so they get to do it with friends and family and have a good time. It's dope.
Nice, nice. And the Camping Trip Festival, where is it going to take place at this year?
It's gonna be in Tate, Georgia, the same place it was. It's about I think it's about like 60, 70 acres of land that we will be on. There's a big creek that runs through the middle, and we pretty much be on each side of the creek, and there are different campsites all up around the land or whatnot. And there's gardens out there. There's all kind of different things, man. It's like I was called a nature boy when I was growing up, so it's just a big playground to me just to be able to be out in nature and not care and just explore.
Okay, now you got to say the city or the town once again because I'm from Georgia. I'm from Atlanta, and when people think of Georgia, the city they think of is Atlanta.
Hmm.
So, so
Right.
you're right. So, is it a city or a town? And if so, how far is it from the city of Atlanta, or at least the outskirts of Atlanta?
Tate, Georgia is 75 north, and it's about an hour and a half away from Atlanta, I believe, or
Okay.
maybe less. I can't remember. I think it's like an hour to an hour and a half drive, though. I know that for sure.
Okay. And as always, Google, ladies and gentlemen.
There's always Google.
Yeah, we're going to give the information to our listeners in just a few moments as we get ready to wrap up this interview. But one more question: where can people expect from your upcoming performance at the Camping Trip Festival?
Man, I just say prepare to be wild and get immersed into the Aquarius show because every performance I have at Camping Trip is always an experience you cannot forget. You know what I mean? My first time I came through there, blew everybody's mind. Second time I did it again. We're gonna have a great show. We're gonna have background singers, dancers. We're gonna put a lot on, you know what I mean? But I just try to make it different every time. So I don't even know how I'm gonna do it for y'all. But understand, I'm gonna do it.
You're going to do it for the culture?
Oh yeah, man. Always, you know.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So the Camping Trip Festival is going down April 16th through the 19th this year. And I'm assuming that everybody is going to still be practicing the CDC guidelines. We are still not out of the woods just yet with this
Hmm.
COVID-19 pandemic. So what does that look like for our vendors and attendees coming to the event?
Well, we definitely gonna stick to the guidelines. You know what I mean? I don't know how, everybody's gonna deal with that, but I always feel like, when you're outside, you're breathing fresh air. You don't need to have a mask on, but that's just my opinion. But the vendors and everybody there will be required, But I think that everyone's will be okay. We got all the sanitation we can take care of. I'm also a slick medic, you know what I mean? So if anybody got anything going on and stuff like that, I help them out. But the people, y'all should be all right. Don't come around scared. If you're scared, stay at home.
Okay, simple as that. And if
Yeah,
you are fully vaccinated, you are more than welcome to come. All right.
yeah, yeah.
Okay. For more information about the Camping Trip Festival, where can people go to, baba.sol?
Yeah, so you can go to ATL Camping Trip on Instagram. I'm gonna have the link in my bio in about a day or so. Um, you can also go to Fly's page. That's FLY yesterday. That's his name. FLY Living Yesterday. That's what it is. And I'll be performing on the 17th, which is that Saturday around 10.
Okay.
If anybody wants to catch my set.
Okay. Nice. That's the Camp and Trip Festival going down in Tate, Georgia. And for more information, Instagram.com/ATL Camp and Trip is where you can go to. And how can people follow you on social media, baba.sol?
You can follow me at baba.sol. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. I'm on TikTok. I'm not on what's the other one? Snapchat, but I should get a Snapchat, but I don't care about it like that. I got a website, baba.sol.com. And then also when you go into my Instagram page, I got other businesses that I do. I run a community program called Scout and Grow. We're teaching agricultural skills, survival skills to the community and the youth. And we got a business. We're selling medicine, herbal medicine for the people. And we're doing music. We got the books on that.
Yeah, and speaking of the book, it is available right now, Wisdom and Philosophy on Intuitive Energy Work on Amazon. They can get it on Amazon, and they can also purchase the book through your website, right?
Yeah, it's not on the website just now. My website is about to be under construction in the next 48 hours because I got a lot of updates that I need to put on there. But you can definitely go on my Instagram page. I have a link tree that will give you a direct link to getting the Kindle version or the physical copy. But if you want, I'm also doing direct sales straight from me with signed copies. So if you want a signed copy, you can definitely reach out to me via email at bushmanatl@gmail.com. That's pretty much it.
All right. Well, there you have it. And I know a lot of people, including your followers, are going to look forward to your upcoming performance at the Camp and Trip Festival on the 17th of April during the festival weekend, the 16th through the 19th. So best of luck. Great endeavors to you, baba.sol. And thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to speak to me and to the listeners right here on the BV Mobile Apps podcast, and for sharing great information on how a musician or a music artist can guide themselves through publishing their own book. We really appreciate it.
I appreciate the opportunity, man. Y'all stay blessed.
Thank you. You too. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this has been the BV Mobile Apps podcast with your host, Sean Garvey. Make sure you follow me on all your social media at Sean Garvey ATL on Twitter, Instagram, as well as on Facebook at Sean Garvey. Don't forget to follow BV Mobile Apps at BV Mobile Apps on all your social media as well. Stay tuned for more information on how you can get your app customized and find out more about what BV Mobile Apps can offer to you. Until the next BV Mobile Apps podcast, we will talk to you all again. And also, shout outs and thank you to my producer, Ayman Khan, for helping me produce the BV Mobile Apps podcast. Until the next time, you all have a great week. Take care.
It's a new year, it's a new day. I'm starting it over, starting the day.
Thank you for listening to the BV Mobile Apps podcast with your host, Sean Garvey. For more information about BV Mobile Apps, visit the website, bvmobileapps.com. Don't forget to follow BV Mobile Apps on social media at BV Mobile Apps. Tune in again next time on the BV Mobile Apps podcast.